Alright, hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, October 19, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so before we even jump into what's happening across the Atlantic in terms of weather, we need to highlight the fact that we had an earthquake today across the island. It says here, the earthquake unit has confirmed that a light 4.2 earthquake occurred in West Portland at 2:07 p.m. on Sunday, October 19, 2025. Did you feel it? Remember to drop cover and hold on when you feel shaking associated with an earthquake. It can happen at any time. And we highlighted the bulletin here from the earthquake unit showing the time of occurrence to 7 p.m. The epicenter, they stated that it was located 8 kilometers south of Buff Bay, Portland, so basically West Portland, and it was a magnitude of 4.2 with a focal depth of 10 kilometers, and it was reportedly felt by the people of Jamaica who were residing in the parishes of St. Catherine, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. I even had somebody in Clarendon confirming that they felt the shaking. And we know when it comes to the magnitude classes of earthquakes, you know, anything from 3.0 to 3.9 is referred to as a minor earthquake. Anything from 4.0 to 4.9 is a light earthquake. So that what we got today was a light earthquake. So it was likely felt. But if you remember that earthquake that we had in October of 2023, that was a moderate earthquake and minor damage is definitely expected. That was a 5.4 if not 5.6 if you remember that earthquake. But the earthquakes that we don't want to see in our lifetimes at all, anything from 6.0 higher, strong or major hurricane, no, those will definitely cause damage. We don't want to see that taking place in our lifetime at all. Yes, and there was even one in 2020. If you remember that one, that was almost before we had COVID. We had an earthquake. I think that was in late January, if not early February, if I'm not mistaken. That big one that was right there between Cuba and northwestern Jamaica. That was a crazy earthquake. Alright, so we definitely have to take the necessary precautions when it comes to earthquakes. You know the drill, you have to drop cover, hold on when it comes to earthquakes for sure, because you don't know what could happen. It's usually when people are panicking and they start running, that's when, you know, the roof or whatever falls off, and you know, once it hits your head, you know, you're in problems from that moment. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to protect your head when you're drop covering and hold on. And the thing is, I believe they made this kind of, let's say, routine back then when we had more zinc roofs, if not wooden roofs. Nowadays, lots of concrete roofs. So I don't know how would these tables hold up when it comes to these concrete buildings falling. Hopefully they're sturdy enough with all of the steel so that we don't have anything to worry about. And we definitely have some comments that came in from some of our followers about the earthquake that they felt today. We have XC on our Expert stating, yup, I felt it. We have Bailey Thompson stating, yes, I felt it. You had just about ended the live. Yes. So immediately after I ended the live stream today on our YouTube platform, that was when the earthquake hit. I didn't feel it at all. There was some persons on Instagram who confirmed for me. We also have a comment right here on our Instagram page. Zoom in a bit. You have Hot Diva 114 stating, no, I didn't feel anything. We have Ram_JA stating, Portland again. Every year around these times, we get an earthquake. Boy, I hope it is not foreboding for something to come. Because see, we're heading up into the anniversary of the October 30 earthquake. And it's October 19 now. And earthquakes like to do this, to be honest. They actually wait for a specific time period. I think it was a good 10 years after the 2011 earthquake in Japan that they got a similar big earthquake in the same spot. So sometimes these things do happen. They call them at least a 10-year aftershock. Hope it's nothing like a 2-year aftershock or 2-year foreshock, because they don't want anything bigger at all. We have Portmore Bell stating that she didn't feel anything. We have Baby Doll stating felt in what is this place? Millbank, Portland. It was heavy. Heard it before I felt it. We have Reggae.Nick stating heard it, felt it. Lily_Anna stating, and me think I did just the thunder heavy. We have The Weekend Living stating shake out my life. _golden.girl stating felt it in St. Elizabeth. Marlon_one God stating I felt a little shake. We have Everything Tishka stating it was felt in St. Mary also. And we even had some comments that came in here on our YouTube page confirming the shaking. We have Bad Toy Don't Play stating St. Mary 2. We have Rawl B. Tyson 2 stating I felt the quake in Hope Pastures. Active 4081 stating play shake up man. I have Janet Cummings stating I did in Manchester. Alright, thank you all for confirming about the earthquake today. Let us see what's happening across the Atlantic. So we're looking here at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the U.S. National Hurricane Center that just came out at 7:22 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:22 p.m. Jamaica time. And we now have a code red. So it was code yellow at first, low chance of development. Then it was a code orange yesterday, medium chance of development. Now we have a code red, something that has a high chance of development over the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared right here of the wide Atlantic, we can make out the cloud showers and thunderstorms associated with this tropical wave, now affecting portions of the Lesser Antilles, especially the Windward Islands. So anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados. Definitely getting on some bad weather as we speak. We're going to be zooming in closely, but let us read the latest here from the Hurricane Center about this code red. Alright, so they've stated here showers and thunderstorms have become slightly better organized since yesterday in association with a tropical wave located just west of the Windward Islands over the eastern Caribbean Sea. However, surface observations indicate the disturbance still lacks a closed circulation. The system is moving quickly westward at 20 to 25 miles per hour, which will likely limit its development over the next day or so. Thereafter, environmental conditions are forecast to become more favorable for development as the wave slows down over the central Caribbean Sea, and a tropical depression is likely to form during the middle to latter portion of this week. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall and gusty winds are expected to continue for portions of the Windward and Leeward Islands tonight through Monday morning. And we see that they've given the area about a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, that's the next 48 hours, and a 70% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the close-up, look at the deep convection. As a matter of fact, I want to see the Weather Nerds close-up, because the Weather Nerds close-up has the lightning detector. So let's zoom in on the Weather Nerds close-up of this tropical wave. Alright, there we go. And let us loop it as well. Alright, so clearly the brunt of the thunderstorm activity is off to the west. We see a lot of lightning over here just to the east of the ABC Islands. Look at all of these sparkling white dots. All of this represents lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. That is what is taking place over there right now. We can also see some thunderstorms still affecting portions of the Windward Islands. We're going to be looking at the Doppler radar imagery later on, but we can definitely see the thunderstorms in and around the area for sure, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados. They've definitely been getting in on that thunderstorm activity throughout the day today, and there's a lot more of that to come as the evening into the night progresses into Monday. And if we take a look here at the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model spaghetti model plots at that, so the Euro EPS and the GFS, well, the GEFS right here, they're both showing where the system could go, and we see a lot of them on the Euro right here take it into the waters just to the south of Jamaica. Then they start to push northward just to the north, well, to the west of Jamaica is where the mean or the average goes. We see some of them making it up into Jamaica, some of them taking it up into Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and we know the greens represents tropical storm status, the yellows represents hurricane status, the oranges into the reds, category 2 into category 3. Boy, we don't want that at all. And we even see some of them heading into Nicaragua or Honduras or Belize into the Yucatan right there. Hopefully that is the case. We don't want the system to be affecting us. Many of us still have PTSD from what Beryl did in July last year. The GEFS, the GFS ensembles, also in agreement taking the system westward, passing a bit too close for comfort to the ABC Islands. And then look at the turn. They're still in agreement that it should be making more of a turn quicker than normal, well, quicker than what the Euro has been showing, pushing it into Haiti, maybe the Dominican Republic right here to the north. And the intensity model guidance still in agreement that over the next 24 to 36 hours, still maintaining that tropical wave status. Not tropical storm yet. We know that tropical storm status would be anywhere from the greens all the way up to, well, let's say from 35 knots to 65 knots. So, and we see many of the models actually taking it up to tropical storm status by around Tuesday. So after the 24-hour mark, so maybe Monday into Tuesday time frame, many of them take it up into tropical storm status. Then by the end of the 5-day forecast, we see a lot of them heading up into hurricane status with the system. So could we have future tropical storm Melissa by the end of the 5 days? So by Friday into Saturday, and maybe even hurricane Melissa right in here. We just have to wait and see exactly what unfolds. What we're sure about right now is that there is going to be a lot of rain to come. I mean, look at the latest Euro model right here. So this map from the Euro is valid for 6Z on Tuesday, October 21, which is actually 1 a.m. on Tuesday. And we can see the moisture associated with where the tropical waves should be right here to the south of the Dominican Republic, to the south of Puerto Rico. We see that big red L, and we see all of the moisture in the greens and the yellows and the oranges. That is where the Euro has it for 1 a.m. on Tuesday. The GFS, basically the same spot for 1 a.m. on Tuesday. And then we're heading out. This is 1 a.m. on Thursday. Look at where the Euro has it, just right there to the south of Jamaica. We see a lot of dark greens into the yellows. We see a lot of it affecting Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Eastern Jamaica getting in on some of the action by that time. And the GFS, look at the GFS now. This is where we have a problem. Sometime between Tuesday and Thursday, the GFS, for some reason, is strengthening the system even more so than what the Euro is showing. Because if the Euro is showing a weaker system to the south of Jamaica here, why is the GFS showing a stronger system to the south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic here? A lot of moisture associated with that too. We see crazy isobars around it, 983 millibars, so that's definitely a hurricane status at that time, if that actually takes place. And then the GFS is still adamant about that northeasterly kind of turn, because the Euro by around 6 on Sunday, which is actually 1 a.m., has the area of low pressure that broad spin just to the southwest of Jamaica to bring a lot of moisture into us. We see that southeasterly flow around that area of low pressure right in here. So there's a lot of rainfall to come for sure. And then if we take a look at what the GFS is showing now, look at where the GFS has it. the same time frame, 1 a.m. on Sunday. Look at the huge difference. So if we're having such big differences within the 7-day time frame, that is just showing how uncertain the models are regarding exactly what's going to be taking place about this future tropical depression, tropical storm. Look at where the GFS has it right here. One big massive area of low pressure in and around the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola in general. That is just crazy if that happened, because they would definitely be in for a lot of rainfall across sections of Hispaniola. But we're still working with what the Euro is showing, even although I've been hearing that the GFS and the Google AI are in agreement with that turn quicker than normal and that intensifying sooner than normal. We'll see it actually plays out, and even the total accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days are incredible down here. The Euro showing the dark reds into the purples, into the pinks, into the peaches, into the slight blues. That represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 8 to 10 inches of rainfall over here. And we see that across the southeastern Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, the ABC Islands, a lot of rainfall that could trigger some amount of flash flooding, if not land slippages, rock slides, mudslides. That's if that verifies. The GFS, given that the system is going to be stronger and turning sooner than normal into the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, has the brunt of the moisture in those areas, even heading up into the blues. That represents anywhere from 10 all the up to maybe 25 inches of rainfall in some spots. If this actually verifies, this is just incredible amounts of rainfall. So we're going to be knowing exactly what's going to be taking place about the system by about Wednesday. Because if the tropical wave is right here right now, so entering the southeastern Caribbean, so Monday is going to be traversing just to the south of Hispaniola. Tuesday, more than like, well, to the south of Puerto Rico. Tuesday, somewhere right here to the south of Dominican Republic. Wednesday is just one big question mark. Will it be actually going south of Jamaica, or will it actually be going right here to the south of Hispaniola and then make that stop sooner? Or will it actually do what the Euro shows? Whichever one it does, that will determine its future. So we're going to be knowing exactly what's taking place on Wednesday regarding this system. If it slows down sooner, then I know that it's going to be doing the GFS thing and pushing to the north into the Dominican Republic. If it continues towards the waters to the south of Jamaica, more than likely it's going to be doing that Euro thing, possibly, spinning over the waters to the southwest of us, and then possibly developing and then pushing northward and threading that needle between Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, like what the later forecasts have been showing. But within the next 7 days, this is what we're talking about. The Caribbean starting to get on a lot of rainfall, and that is the main takeaway, because nobody knows for certain exactly what's going to be taking place regarding this system yet. Only the psychics, only the persons who are looking at crystal balls can really tell you what's going to be taking place. I want to know that if something should form of this system, the next name on the list is Melissa. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the blue and red spike line right here associated with a frontal system extending from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the waters to the north of Hispaniola into the Turks and Caicos southeastern Bahamas. We can also see the cloud, the line associated with that tropical wave now affecting the eastern Caribbean. The other tropical wave that was to the west of that tropical wave has buried most of its moisture into Venezuela right here. We see that there's another tropical wave across the southern Mendevuma region, and there's another tropical wave right here to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. All of these being steered from east-west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out the clouds that we just mentioned. The line of clouds extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, extending into the southeastern Bahamas associated with that frontal system. The tropical wave right here affecting portions of the Lesser Antilles, the other tropical wave to the southeast of that, and the other tropical wave right here to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Definitely in line with what we saw on the latest surface map. And we know that they're being steered from east-west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. We will be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, October 19, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some eastern parishes in Jamaica on Sunday morning, also affecting sections of some eastern, central, western, and especially northern parishes during Sunday afternoon. And we know that eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. And although no post was made for the morning, when I started my live stream on the YouTube channel, we definitely highlighted that portion of St. Thomas and Portland were getting in on some amount of rainfall for sure. So we definitely had that morning rainfall, more so late morning rainfall, into portion of St. Thomas and eastern Portland. Then by afternoon, that was where it started to really take off across the central, western, and the northern parishes. And central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And what ended up happening at around 2:55 p.m., the visible and the infrared satellite imagery were posted not only here on our X page at Weather Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see the clouds that started to build across sections of some central and western parishes, and we still had some clouds pushing into the east. Look at the bands pushing from east, southeast, west, northwest into portion of St. Thomas. Sections of Portland gotten on the rainfall. We had some thunderstorm activity across northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine. So too sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, northern Clarendon, sections of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover into Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth. That was where the thunderstorms were taking place, and we see the visible satellite imagery of Jamaica right here. We can definitely make out the flow of the low level to mid level clouds pushing in from east, south, east, west, northwest. Then we had those clouds across the eastern end, the northern, and the central and western parishes, but more so the northern and western parishes for sure. That was where the brunt of today's thunderstorm activity was located. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see where we had the cumulonimbus cloud cover right here. I love these blues into the greens, into the yellows, oranges, and reds. That represents that cumulonimbus thunderstorm activity. Not to mention the sparkling white dust that represents some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. That is what took place today, Sunday, across the island. All of these sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, across St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Westmoreland, section of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. That was where we had the brunt of today's thunderstorms. And we even have the Jamaican Doppler radar here confirming where we had that moderate to heavy rainfall. All of these greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds that represents that moderate to heavy rainfall pushing from east to west across the island. We see that especially across sections of central Manchester pushing into northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, section of St. Anne, and the eastern St. Thomas and Portland. That was where the rainfall was located. And we definitely have some confirmation of some rainfall that took place here. This is the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. This is showing Little London in Westmoreland. And as you can see right here, we had some rainfall for sure. We see the windshield wipers on these vehicles definitely on to confirm that we got on some rainfall. We can even see the rainfall in the puddle right over here on the roadside, and the road is soaking wet. So they had some light to moderate rainfall in Little London today to confirm what was predicted. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Alright, so regarding what took place today, the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map paints quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today, especially across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. And we have some comments right here confirming what the weather is like from some of our followers. We have Georgia Williams is stating hot in Portmore. We have Paulette Stevens is stating St. Catherine, some showers. Even on our Instagram page, we had a few comments that came in from some of our followers confirming what the weather is like in their area. We have Bella.Alchemy stating the sun very much hot in Portmore. That was posted 2 hours ago. Molan_1God_ stating overcast sky now, weather Jamaica. That's in Clarendon. We have one Ryan_ stating rain in Hanover. Thanks for confirming. We have SJack_girl876s stating rainfall earlier in Mobile. It stopped, but it's drizzling right now. And we even had some comments that came in on our TikTok page. We have Nicole stating Westmoreland. What happened in Westmoreland? More than likely the rain that we saw on the Little London camera. We have Blessing stating no rain as yet in Portmore, St. Catherine, overcast skies though. And we have Natalie stating heavy rain in Falmouth, Trelawney. And even had some comments that came in here on our YouTube. Well, at least one comment. Active481 stating cloudy in his area of Clarendon. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image. Let us see what's happening right now across the island. We're also going to be reloading the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the latest Cayman radar. We want to see what's taking place now before we look at what's going to be taking place tomorrow across Jamaica. Alright, so what's taking place now? So the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0005 UTC, which is actually 7:05 p.m. So this just came out 5:10. So that's about 12 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:17 p.m. right now across Jamaica. And as you can see, the clouds that brought us the rainfall today are dissipating as we speak. There's some leftover whitish shades, if not bluish shades. They represent the leftovers from some of the cumulonimbus clouds from today. So some high cirrus clouds. But we're seeing some thunderstorms off to our southwest. All of these greens into the yellows, oranges, reds, and the sparkling white. That's definitely confirming that thunderstorm to the southwest. I'm sure the people off Negril, if they're looking southwesterly, they're seeing a lot of lightning out to sea right now. And we're going to be looking at the latest Doppler radar image to confirm what's taking place. Alright, so the latest Doppler radar imagery is showing 23:57 UTC. So that's about 6:57. And as you can see, we're definitely seeing the rain bands to the southwest of Negril. Look at the greens into the yellows into the oranges. They represent some moderate to heavy rainfall out to sea right there. We're even seeing some light rainfall across western Westmoreland. We're also seeing some rainfall to the southeast of us. Some rainfall looking like it's affecting pushing another St. Elizabeth as well. So that's what's taking place now. Regarding the Cuban Doppler radar, it is almost in line with what we saw on the Jamaican Doppler radar, but it is a bit outdated. It is showing 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:30 p.m. Jamaica time. But at that time, we saw we were getting some rainfall across the far western end, and especially to the southwest of us, right over there. And if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, we can see that rainfall that affected portion of the east earlier today, but not really much of anything is affecting the island right now. All of these rain bands that were across the northeast have dissipated by the time of recording, but we can see some rain bands right here just to the northwest of Guantanamo across section of southeastern Cuba. Regarding the Cayman radar, it's definitely going to be confirming the rain bands that we saw to the southwest of us. All of these blues into the greens into the yellows that represent some light to moderate, even some slight heavy rainfall. We're also seeing that light rainfall that's affecting western Westmoreland as we speak, like what we saw on the Jamaican Doppler radar, clearly dissipating as we speak. We can also see some rain bands to the north of Grand Cayman right there too. Not really much of anything affecting the western end of the island right now. And we have the live camera right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing halfway through in St. Andrew. As you can see, people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business, and the road is dry, to highlight that we didn't get in on much of anything in terms of bad weather today. Fair weather is what took place over here in halfway through today. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out on what's taking place. Alright, so regarding the temperatures right now across Jamaica, we see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston right now, or it should be getting down there. as we speak since we lost the sunlight. And by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the yellows and the slight oranges. That represents up to at least 1, maybe even up to 2 degrees Celsius above average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.6 degrees Celsius. So given that temperature should be getting up from anywhere from 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, it should be anywhere from 31.6 to maybe even up to 33.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. And we're grateful that we visited my JPS online Twitter page and we didn't see any maintenance outage advisories expected. Because you know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So we're grateful that we don't see any outages expected on Monday from my JPS online Twitter page at all. But if tomorrow is gonna be a bit too hot for you, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when you're outside. Some people always choose to walk right where the sun is shining. Why not find another side where there's a tree or a building's shade that you can walk underneath? So you're basically seeking the shade instead of burning up in the sun. Also, try to eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Ensure that you also rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see that we have a lot of dry air across the Atlantic in general. You notice where the yellows and oranges are located. We're talking about the northern Gulf of the east coast of the United States, across the northern main development region extending all the way back over to Europe and Africa. That is where the dry stable air is located. The dry air, as you know, is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But clearly, wherever we have the blues and the grays, that represents moist air and cloud. We see a lot of that across the Caribbean, a lot of that across the southern main development region, the intertropical convergence zone, and that's what we want more of. We want more moisture so that we get more clouds, so that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, so we're heading into October 20, October 21, and October 22. And as you can see here, Jamaica should be in the clear. On this map, you know, the Saharan dust is represented by the greens, the yellows, oranges, and the pinks. And we don't see much in the way of Saharan dust coming through at all. There's some slight greens, and the more it pushes westward, the more it dissipates back to the blues. So people won't even notice that Saharan dust, even though it will be in the air. We know that the vigorous plume is represented by the oranges into the pinks, and we're glad that we're not seeing that at all, because know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger respiratory illnesses such as asthma or sinusitis issues in some people. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, so across the Caribbean, all of these blues that you're seeing, that we see across the key here on the bottom right, that's light shades of blues to dark shades of blues into pinks. That's representing anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to maybe 2 to 3 meter wave heights. And that is because of the easterly winds that are expected across the Caribbean tomorrow. Look at the easterly winds. We're seeing some bluish shades into bright greens, into the yellows. That represents anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 up to 20 knots, maybe even up to 25 knot winds. Especially considering that the tropical wave should be pushing through the eastern to the east central Caribbean tomorrow. And let us zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow for the fisher folk. So to the north of Portland tomorrow, 0.7 of a meter wave height. To the north of St. Ann tomorrow, 0.6 of a meter wave height. To the north of Hanover, 0.7 of a meter wave height. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.7 of a meter wave height. To the south of Clarendon, 0.1 of a meter wave height. While to the south of St. Thomas, we have 1.1 meter wave height expected. And that is because of the winds that are expected across the island tomorrow. We see more of an east-northeasterly flow of the winds on the north coast, more of an easterly flow of the winds on the south coast, and we see where the air should be piling up as well. across sections of some central and western parishes, and it looks more south central and southwestern parishes like than north coast for sure. So we see the winds. This looks like 9-knot winds from the east northeast to the north of St. Mary. This looks like 10-knot winds from the northeast to the north of St. James. This is 14 knots to the south of St. Thomas from the east, 13 knots to the south of Manchester from the east, and we're expecting some daytime heating rainfall across the central to the western end of the island. So this is where we could have some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds across the island. And the upper-level winds for tomorrow seem to be coming in from the west, so if we actually get some thunderstorms to formulate across the island tomorrow, these cloud tops would be sheared off towards the east. So definitely bring more overcast section of most parishes for sure. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this is what everybody has been waiting for. We want to see where and when it's going to be raining tomorrow. So this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 8 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? What are they in agreement on? Both of them seem to be in agreement that there should be some isolated shores across the far eastern end of the island. We see some blues across eastern St. Thomas and eastern Portland. So that is the agreement for 8 a.m. on Monday. So some morning rainfall in the east. Then by afternoon, this is by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see on both maps for tomorrow in terms of the rainfall? We see the blues that represent rainfall, especially across sections of some central and western parishes, and it looks more south central and southwestern parishes than anything else. So maybe the north coast is going to be getting on a break tomorrow. Even although the Euro is showing blues that represent rainfall across the north, this is what we've been talking about. The Euro isn't really so 100% when it comes to the afternoon rainfall. The GFS makes more sense to me. And the fact that we're seeing the darker blues and the greens across the southwest and the south definitely makes more sense. So we could definitely be getting in on some rainfall across these areas. So especially Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, maybe Kingston, St. Andrew could be getting in on some rainfall for sure. And we see not really much of anything for St. Thomas. I live in St. Thomas. I expect that, not much of anything. I do see some blues into Portland, so maybe some isolated shores in Portland. Maybe some rainfall into southeastern St. Mary, southwestern St. Anne, southwestern Trelawney, southern St. James, and even southern Hanover could get in on some of the afternoon rainfall. And although it's showing 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Jamaica time, it could start earlier than that for sure. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS that are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. Both maps are showing the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, into the reds. That represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to at least, close to an inch of rainfall. We see 0.86 of an inch of rainfall in Kingston right here on the Euro. That's the total. The GFS looking like it's heading up into the same area across the far eastern end, but we see it's only 0.52 of an inch of rainfall there in St. Thomas. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of October. And in St. Anne, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive up to 176 millimeters of rainfall in October. That is about the same as 6.9 inches of rainfall. While in Clarendon, we usually receive 179 millimeters of rainfall in October. That is about the same as 7 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website will show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Sunday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Monday. We're going all the way back to next week's Sunday. So we're definitely going to be seeing what this tropical wave is going to be doing. So Tuesday morning, Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica, but we do see the bout of moisture associated with that tropical wave to the south of Hispaniola right there. Then as you head into Tuesday afternoon, so 18th on Tuesday is actually Tuesday afternoon. And as you can see right here, we have some moisture across the eastern end. We also have some moisture right here across portions of Jamaica. Interesting. So maybe some afternoon rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning looks like some rainfall across the northern parishes. We also see that huge bout of moisture associated with that tropical wave to the south of Puerto Rico to the north of the ABC Islands. Let us continue. What about Tuesday afternoon? Just like the Euro, we're seeing rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. Let's continue. What about Wednesday morning? On a Wednesday morning, we're seeing that moisture across the far eastern end of Jamaica. We're also seeing a lot of moisture associated with the tropical wave to the south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. I mean, look at all of these greens into the yellows into the oranges. That's some crazy amount of rainfall. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we see an increase in the moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. Dominican Republic and Haiti getting nailed by that time according to the Euro. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, something forming on the GFS. We see the isobars, we see the red L to the south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So this is what we've been talking about. By the time we get to Wednesday, we're going to be knowing exactly what this system will do. Will it push into Hispaniola, or will it come to the south of Jamaica and spin and bring us a lot of rainfall? GFS still in agreement that is going to be strengthening sooner and moving slower right here to the south of Hispaniola. We see it looks like a tropical depression, if not a tropical storm forming. But at that time, 7 a.m. on Wednesday, some rainfall could be affecting portions of northern and eastern parishes in Jamaica. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we're seeing that rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Thursday morning? On Thursday morning, we're seeing some moisture across the far eastern end of the island. We're also still seeing that huge low pressure right here to the south of the island. A lot of greens into the yellows, into the oranges right here. That's anywhere from 1 all the way to maybe 6 or 8 inches of rainfall. Very interesting. And then on Thursday afternoon, we see that we're still getting some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And you see the rainfall is even widespread across Cuba, the Bahamas, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, even as far as portion of the Leeward Islands getting on some of that. What does the GFS show for Thursday morning? On Thursday morning, we're seeing most of the moisture across the northern portion of the island. So, of course, it's going to be across the northern portion of the island because this is where the low pressure is located according to the GFS. It's going to be bringing more of a northeasterly flow into the northern parishes, while more of a westerly flow on the southern side of the lower southerly into southeasterly flow into the Dominican Republic. So, the GFS, stronger and slower. Definitely trying to bring a hurricane into the Dominican Republic and Haiti right there by Thursday morning. And the fact that we're within the 7-day time frame and there's so much uncertainty is a bit shocking. So by Wednesday, we're going to be finding out which one of these models is right. Will it be the Euro? We might even get the confirmation sooner than Wednesday. Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe tomorrow the GFS does something different, or the Euro does something drastically different, or will it be on Tuesday that the thing that's drastically different is done? So Thursday afternoon, yes, we still see some moisture across eastern to central and western portion of the island. Then on a Friday morning on the Euro, what do we see? We're still seeing a lot of moisture coming into portion of eastern Jamaica, or courtesy of this tropical wave. Friday afternoon, eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, a lot of moisture across the northeast and the eastern end. Friday afternoon, rainfall across section of some southern and eastern parishes. What do we see on Saturday morning? Saturday morning, a lot of moisture still pushing into the eastern end of the island. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, October 26th. And we see the bout of moisture that should be pushing into the southern and eastern end of the island, courtesy of this broad area of low pressure in the southwestern Caribbean. That's future tropical depression. Well, I don't know the number, but definitely next name on the list is Melissa. So could we acquire that name, or will it just be a broad area of low pressure within the next 7 days across the waters of the southwestern Caribbean? GFS clearly stronger with it. Saturday morning, having that system already out to sea to the north of the Dominican Republic, but clearly we see a huge spin. So there's a lot of moisture that's going to be associated with it. Saturday afternoon, still getting in on some rainfall across the northeastern end across Jamaica. Then we're heading into Sunday morning. Well, Sunday in general. So the end of the 168 hours. This is valid for Sunday, October 26th. And we see the differences. So we have huge uncertainty in exactly what's going to be taking place. Sunday right here on the Euro has the system in the southwestern Atlantic, bringing more of a southeasterly flow, a lot of moisture into portion of Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba. The GFS has the system to the north of the Dominican Republic, bringing a lot of moisture into the southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, and portion of the Leeward Islands. Very interesting. And we spoke about the total accumulated precipitation forecast earlier, but let us look at it again. I mean, look at all of this rainfall that's expected over the next 7 days. All of these dark reds into the purples and the pinks across the Caribbean that we know represents what we see here on the key on the right. That's the 2 all the way up to maybe 8, maybe 10 inches of rainfall, all courtesy of the system over the next 7 days. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now, Sunday, October 19, all the way up to Sunday, October 26. And this rainfall could definitely trigger some amount of flash flooding in some areas for sure. There could be some loss of life, there could be some mudslides, rock slides, you name it. It is just a bad situation. But right now we're still working with the Euro. We're not working with the GFS at all. GFS is showing too much tremendous rainfall for the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. I mean, if this actually verifies, we're talking about anywhere from 10 to 25 inches of rainfall. That is unprecedented. That could definitely cause some crazy flash flooding. I'm sure nobody wants any of that to take place. So, yep, there we go. That's the forecast. We have to take it with a grain of salt. Right now, we just have to see what takes place Tuesday into Wednesday. Will it actually be a case where it's moving into the southwestern Caribbean, bring us a lot of rainfall, or will it be a case where it strengthens sooner and pushes into the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, bring those areas a lot of rainfall? We'll see how it plays out, and I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs if God spares life. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are also showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, October 26th. And we see the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, reds, and purples. That represents anywhere from 15 millimeters of rainfall all the way up to what's that? That's 244 millimeters of rainfall across the far eastern end of the island on the Euro. The GFS a bit more reserved with the rainfall totals, going up to, well, starting from the greens into the yellows into the oranges, so that's anywhere from 15 millimeters all the way up to what looks like 147 millimeters of rainfall into St. Mary, Portland. We'll see it actually plays out. More than likely we're gonna continue to endure some changes on these precipitation totals because we're not really sure what's going to be taking place regarding this tropical wave at all. Right now we still have a lot of question marks. Will it be turning, well, slowing down and turning and pushing into the Dominican Republic? Will it be pushing westward into Central America? Will it be curving right here near Jamaica? A lot of question marks right now. We just have to stay updated to see how it actually plays out. Alright, so regarding what's taking place across the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have that tropical wave currently lashing in portion of the Leeward and Windward Islands, more so the Windward Islands. And we can see a lot of clouds associated with another tropical wave right here to the east of Honduras, Nicaragua, just to the northeast of Costa Rica. If we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery down there near Puerto Rico, clearly the brunt of the rainfall at the northern edge of the rainfall is more so affecting a portion of the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica. We're looking south of there, and we're definitely seeing that moisture. All of these greens into the yellows. They represent some light to moderate teams, some heavy rainfall affecting Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, section of Barbados, and even the Barbados radar showing that rainfall. Look at the flow of the rainfall pushing in from east to west across these islands. A lot of rainfall pushing into Dominica as we speak. Some light to moderate rainfall affecting Martinique. So too some rainfall just passing to the south of St. Lucia. Some rainfall, some light rainfall at that, pushing into section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Grenada getting on some rainfall as we speak. We had some heavy rainfall that affected portion of Tobago earlier, but there's clearly more of that in store for Tobago. We see that huge rain band to the east of there, and we see some rain bands right here across the far western portions of Trinidad. Regarding the wide view of Doppler radar imagery, we can see right here that rainfall across sections of the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, some rainfall across sections of Honduras, some rainfall pushing into eastern portion of the Nicaragua area. We also see some rainfall across sections of Cuba, that rain band that we saw to the west of Jamaica on the Cayman radar just for a second. And we can definitely see the twisting and the turning of the rainfall associated with that tropical wave that's trying to develop as it pushes off towards west. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. And anywhere that you see the greens into the yellows, into the oranges and reds, even dark reds and the pinks and the purples, you know, we're talking about anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way to maybe 3.5 inches of rainfall or even 4 inches. And clearly the brunt of tomorrow's rainfall is going to be right here across the southeastern Caribbean, where we have that tropical wave just to the west of the Windward Island as the system tries to get its act together. But there could also be rainfall for portions of Florida, the Bahamas, sections of the Cuba area, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, eastern Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Anguilla, St. Barts, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, coastal areas of Guyana, coastal Suriname and French Guyana, Venezuela, section of the ABC Island, so too Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan, going to be getting out some rainfall. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. Regarding what's taking place here on the eastern Pacific side of things, so we're wrapping up the video now. We can see that that code yellow that we've been watching to the south of Mexico, this new code yellow, has been upgraded to a code orange. So now it has a 50% chance of development over the next 7 days as it pushes towards west, but it's not going to be affecting land at all. And we can see the cloud shrouds and thunderstorms right here just to the south of Guatemala associated with it. They're still trying to get this act together, and we know that if something should form over there, the next name on the list is Sonia. They've had every name all the way up to Raymond so far. Regarding what's happening on the Indian Ocean side of things and the Western Pacific side of things, we are still watching Tropical Cyclone 04S, which now has a name. It's called Tropical Cyclone Chents, or is that Chenge? Either way, that's the name of the system, and it's going to be pushing towards Madagascar. And we're still watching Tropical Storm Fengshen right here to the west of the Philippines. And if we take a look at the close-up of Tropical Storm Cheng, it's right here, and you notice it has the different kind of look to it. If you remember our side of the world, the systems don't look like it. As a matter of fact, they spin in an anti-clockwise flow. On this side of the world, they're spinning the other way. They're spinning in the clockwise direction because they're in the southern hemisphere. So this blue line right here represents the equator, so it's in the southern hemisphere. So it's not going to be crossing and pushing north into the northern hemisphere. Clearly it's going to be pushing south, and we see that more of a westerly, if not a west-south westerly kind of flow towards the northern portions of Madagascar. Very interesting. Will it actually make it close to there? As of right now, it is packing 40 knot winds. Oh no, that systems that pack 40 knot winds are classified as tropical storms, anywhere from 34 to 64 knot wind. Tropical storm status for sure. So it's a low end tropical storm, definitely closer to tropical depression status than category 1 hurricane status right now. and we see that it should maintain that tropical storm status. 40 knots, 45 knots, 40 knots, 35, 30 knots. So it should maintain that tropical storm status. Doesn't seem like it's going to be heading up into hurricane status at all. The Western Pacific shows tropical storm Feng Sheng right here to the west of the mainland of the Philippines, just to the south of China. And once again, another system that's going to be pushing into Vietnam. If we take a look here, you can see the cloud showers and thunderstorms, and it definitely lashed portion of the Philippines over the past 24 hours. And they're clearing out as we speak, so I'm sure it is daytime over there right now, considering that it's evening time now in Jamaica. As you can see here, it is now packing 40 knot winds, so it's also a tropical storm. Should make it up into hurricane status, 65 knot winds. You know that anywhere from 65 to 83 knot winds are classified as category 1 hurricanes. And they don't call them hurricanes in this side of the world, they call them typhoons. So it's going to be making more of a northwestward trek, or west-northwestward trek, then west, then to the southwest, all the way back down into Vietnam. And we see the intensity 65 knots, 60, 40 knots. So back to tropical storm status before it actually makes landfall. But don't be surprised if it overachieves. We know these things go over on this side of the world. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you all for watching.